Hello, Taylor Ellwood here, and welcome to part three of how to price your books. So, today I wanted to talk a bit about how to price your books when it comes to a book sale and also share some final thoughts on price. If you're new to this video stream, go ahead and click the notification button below and the subscribe button so that way you get notified when I go live. So, you know, sometimes you're going to want to run like a book sale. Like, let's say you've gotten a new book out and you decide that you want to um, sell all the books in the series, then you might want to run a book sale. And there are some very useful tools for that, whether you're wide or you're Amazon exclusive, and whether it's fiction or nonfiction. So let's discuss some of that right now. If you're Amazon exclusive, one of the things you can do is create what's called a Kindle countdown deal, where you can either offer a book for free or offer it at a reduced price. That's one of the things that I do, particularly with my fiction, as a way to help sell the fiction book. I usually do this in tandem with what's called promo sites, such as Robin Reads or Book Raid or Book Barbarian. These are sites where you can basically feature your book at a reduced price for a specific period of time, and it'll help you to use that Amazon promo special as a way to launch your book. I recommend doing that kind of book sale, incidentally, if you've got more than 3 books. I don't really recommend it if you only have 1 or 2 or 3 books, because what you're really looking for is something that's going to justify the cost of running the promo specials in particular, because they cost money. So you want to make sure that you're making that money back and then some. And typically with this, I mean, what I've observed is having done this a couple times now, I would say that, the week of the promo special, you don't necessarily make your money back, but you make it back afterwards because people keep going and buying the rest of the series, or they see the books after the fact and they click on it and they access it and they decide to buy it anyway. But I think it's a good thing to do. I haven't done a promo special with nonfiction, mainly because I find that with nonfiction I can kind of get away with um, charging it at the price that it's at, and people will buy it. And I think part of that is because of how people value fiction versus nonfiction. Not to say that nonfiction is better than fiction, but rather that if you look at why people read nonfiction, they're generally reading nonfiction to educate themselves, to learn something, to become better at something. And if they're reading fiction, they're doing it for enjoyment. And so I think that in and of itself plays a role in the price valuation and why why you can get away with not really doing a book sale. I mean, you can do book sales if you want to. I never have, and I've found that my books sell just fine. And so it's kind of like, why leave money on the table there? Um, so something to keep in mind there. Another thing you can do is if you're wide, you could set the price manually on Amazon to like 99 cents, and then you could go into like Kobo and Draft to Digital and Barnes and Nobles, and you could use some of the features there. Like Kobo has a thing where you can actually run like a special on their site for like 99 cents or something like that for a short period of time. Or like with Barnes and Nobles, you can use the coupon feature. With Draft to Digital, you're basically just resetting the price. And again, this can be a useful way for you to help launch a series. I've used the promo specials with my zombie apocalypse series, and what I noticed is that after the first time I did it, which was in November of 2020, I had a bunch of people reading the books afterwards for the first few months, and actually the reads continued on even to now, which is it's now March of 2021, and I'm doing a similar promo special now, so I'm getting more readers into reading that particular series. And I would say this is something that I will probably do once I finish the series. I'll probably run this once or twice a year for the series, just as a way to get new readers in, because there's always going to be new readers. So keep that in mind. I mean, that it can be useful to run a book sale sometimes, and if it is, when do you want to do that? I mean, I would say again, you probably want to do it mainly with Your fiction, if you're doing nonfiction, you probably don't need to. I mean, you can try it, and I would say, hey, give it a try and see what happens. But in general, with nonfiction, you really do have the benefit that people usually have a need for why they're buying a nonfiction book, and that actually gives it a different valuation. So it's something to keep in mind. I want to share some final thoughts here too on price and why price doesn't matter as much as you think it does to your readers. I so I've been publishing books since 2003, and I've been setting prices for books since pretty much 2003, because even when I was working with a traditional publisher and they were publishing my books, I ended up actually helping to run that publisher. So I ended up getting to set up prices. And I remember at one point, I was with a partner of mine, and she was publishing books through that publisher, and I said, "Yeah, let's set the books for like 18.95 or something like that." This was for the paperback, and she kind of freaked out. She's like, "People won't buy it," and I said, "Yeah, they will." And she's like, "Why? How do you know that?" And I said, "Because if somebody wants something bad enough, they won't care about price. And the fact of the matter is, a book isn't really that much anyway." It's true. I mean, you look at how much books cost. Really, uh, for an ebook, you typically paying less than $10, sometimes less than five. For a print book or paperback book, you're typically paying around $20, maybe a bit less, and people pay that all the time and don't sweat it. People buy hardbacks for like $30 or even $40 and don't sweat it. And of course, people will buy expensive books, the rare goatskin leather-bound book or whatever, and they'll drop a chunk of change right there on it because it's something that they think is worth exploring, paying for. Don't overthink your book pricing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing like a book sale. Like I said, go ahead and do book sales. Sometimes it's a great way to spur some activity. I can already tell you that like 2 or 3 days into my book promo special right now for the Zombie Apocalypse series, I'm seeing a lot of the Zombie Apocalypse series just flying off the shelf, so to speak, and some of the other books in the series also going. So I think it's worth it, to go in at a reduced price and still end up selling a lot of books. And afterwards, I think I'm going to continue to see some more of those sales over the course of the next few weeks. So it's worth it to do a book sale. But at the same time, you don't have to like permanently price your books at a really low thing, because and I see this happen with a lot of indie authors. Like, they'll price their ebooks, for example, at like 199 or 299, and they'll have their entire series for that. I don't mind if I want to read that series because, hey, it saves me some money, but I would still buy that book at 4.99 or 5.99. If people want something bad enough, they will spend the money on it. And the reason they will spend the money on it is because if they're invested enough in what you've shared, they want to find out what's going to happen at the end. They're willing to spend the money. When you first write, when you only have one book in a series, yeah, they're taking a chance on you at that point, and that's just the truth of it. And if you have like a second or a third book, okay, but as you go further, the further along you get and the more books you write in a series, people are going to spend that money. And even for a single book, they will spend that money. And I say this again because most of like my nonfiction books sell pretty well, including my backlist. And part of it's just like I have it priced. I've raised the prices on like my backlist of books a bit. Like I started out originally, I think, with like 16.95 for one of the books, and I brought it all the way up to like 18.95 because I was like, you know what, they'll probably pay for it, and they will. I could probably take it even higher than that if I wanted to, but I think I'm pretty happy with where the price is. Always remember that pricing, like anything else, is a strategy. Okay, why you price books the way you price them is a strategy. It's a business choice. It's a marketing choice. It's not just and it's something that you want to keep in mind. Like if you're like, okay, I'm only going to charge 2.99 for my ebooks, that's fine. That's your choice. But then consider the fact that you're devaluing your work to some degree. And that may seem a little harsh. Like, why would Taylor say that? Well, because I mean, if you know that you could charge 4.99, then charge 4.99. And as an example, like the first book in my Zombie Apocalypse series is not set to perma-free or to permanently at 99 cents. I know a lot of these book indie author gurus say, You should have a perma-free book, or you should have a 99 cents book because that'll help people buy your books. And I mean, you can try that, go for it. But keep in mind too that you could also just as easily charge it at 4.99 and people will buy it. I recently took the prices on my superhero books, and I bopped it up from 2.99 to 4.99 for the first book, and same for the second book from 3.99 to 4.99. Literally the next day, I sold all three books, and I thought to myself, man, if I had left it at the original price, I would have left money on the table, and I would have. So keep that in mind, like with the books that you write, that sometimes you're going to you have to decide like what your pricing strategy is, and there's no right or wrong way about it. Yes, you can do the perma free, and yes, you can do, the first book at 99 cents, and you might try that for a while. Like I would say, if you want, test it for a month. Set your book for free for a month, or set it for 99 cents for a month, and see what happens and how many copies sell, and then how the rest of the books sell through, and then put it back up to the regular price and see if there's a difference. And when you're comparing that difference, also compare how much money you're making from one month to another. If you're making more money the month where you have it at 99 cents, then stick with 99 cents for a while. But if you're making more money when you have it at 4.99 and you're still selling all the books, then maybe you don't need to use that strategy. Don't don't buy into the hype without testing it yourself and finding out for yourself what works or doesn't work, because a lot of times people will tell you you got to do it this way, it's industry standard or whatever else. There are no industry standards, there are industry suggestions. And when it comes to pricing your book, as with anything else, it's all about strategy. What's your strategy, and how is this strategy going to help you make money? Because you're presumably writing to make a living, or at least to in part make a living. I mean, maybe it's your side hustle and that's okay too, but you're still writing to make money. So no matter what you do, think it through, because the more money that you are making, the easier it is for you to live off of the writing, and that's a good thing. All right, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and a great week.